By the age I was 13 years old, I was so out of control. My mother had no clue to what to do. A 13-year-old drug addict. I refused to go to school. They were threatening to put her in jail, threatening to put me in juvenile. I remember one time I went to Ocala Middle School. Anybody go there? And, okay, my boy, yeah, what's up? You know. Ocala Middle, see, this is, I'm telling, as a matter of fact, my friend Tony, the one that raised his hand, he can confirm everything I'm telling you. I mean, not the 4-year-old part, but everything else, because he was there. We were there together. So he was in the same boat as me. We couldn't go a day without drugs. We would talk about it. Back then, we would talk about it, desiring to get off of it. It wasn't fun. When you become a drug addict, it's not fun anymore. It's not, it's not enjoyable anymore. I mean, the high part, you might enjoy it for a second, but then when you come down, it's miserable, it's horrible. And we constantly were talking about, like I remember we would go a day without drugs. And the next day, we would be like, man, like either him or me, like, we're feeling good, man, a whole day. Like you feel like your brain's so fogged up. And so by the time I was 13, my mother, she didn't know what to do. I was out of control. As a matter of fact, all of us were, my brothers and my sister, we were out of control. My middle brother was a suicide mess. I mean, he literally tried to commit suicide, seriously tried to commit suicide 3 times. Seriously, where we had to take him to the emergency. It wasn't like he was begging for help. It was like if someone didn't find him, if God didn't lead someone to find him, he would have died. My oldest brother was a drug dealer. I mean, he was always going to jail because he was carrying loaded guns and whatnot. And, well, by the way, both of them are saved, serving the Lord right now. Amen. But my mom, she had a hard time. What would you do? What would you do as a mother if this was your situation? If this was your scenario, what would you do? Well, my mom, she prayed and she prayed and she prayed. But we need to pray for our own children and believe that God will protect them. Pray and believe that God will raise them up to be men and women of God. Your prayers and my mom's prayers changed the world. Your sacrifice unto the Lord will have an impact when you pray for them. My mom, she gave us over to the Lord and she would pray. But one day, we got in a big argument, her and I. I mean, it was kind of common. It was standard, for us to argue. Well, for me to rebel, I should say. And as she was trying to get close to me, towards the end of the argument, to I don't know if she wanted to slap me or to talk to me or hug me. I don't know. But I didn't want her next to me, and I began to walk away from her. And as she began to try to catch it to me, I began to walk more and start to run almost to where there was a distance maybe from me to that door, at least minimum. So we're walking around, and I remember my mom began to say, "Devil, you will no longer have my child." "13-year-old drug addict," and she's saying, "God, you're going to raise up my child to be in ministry. My son will serve you with all his heart and lead other people." As she began to decree and declare those blessings and those curses off of me right there in the middle of the street around her. I'm talking about it lasted maybe an hour. An hour. And I'm looking back at her laughing, saying, "No way, no way." And she says, "Devil, you won't have my son." She began to decree and declare out loud what she believed in her heart. Church, mothers, I encourage you to do the same over your children. The greater the sacrifice, the greater the miracle. Church, you know why we need to do this? You know why we need to pray. You know why we need to sacrifice, not only for our breakthrough, but even more importantly, because we get closer to God. We become more intimate with Jesus. During this fast, church, this is my 4th year of seriously fasting. I've gotten closer to the Lord. To me, it's amazing. I've never been so close to the Lord than today. That's, to me, it blows me away after 20-something years. How long have I been serving? 13 to... What's my age? How old am I? 41? Someone help me with the math. How long is that? 13 to 41. Man, no one's mathematicians here. How long? 20? 28 years. Since 28 years, I've never been this close to the Lord. And it's because I am presenting my body as a living sacrifice. And you know what else I'm doing? As it says in verse 24, then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Church, we can't do this every Sunday. We can't do this just on Easter. We have to do this daily. Daily, we have to sacrifice. I thank the Lord so much right now that He's changing me. He's changing my heart. He's allowing me to be closer to Him because I'm fasting. After 28 years, you kind of think, well, maybe it might get old. Kind of like, you know, hopefully none of you feel this way, but some people say, I'm tired of my spouse, or I'm tired of this or that. You know, you would think after 28 years of serving a God you don't see, you would say, it's getting kind of old. He's renewing and refreshing my faith in Him. He's refreshing me. Church, I encourage you to sacrifice. Present your bodies as a living sacrifice. Deny yourself. Take up your cross and follow Jesus. Church, it will change your life. And I said all of that to say this. Let me just tell you, I shared my testimony, all that to say this. What profit a man if he gains this whole world but loses his own soul? Church, every one of us here this morning need to realize that it is more, that it's one of the most important things we'll ever do, that we can do, is introduce someone to Jesus. It is so vital to invite someone to Jesus than to have a nice home. That it's more important to lead someone to the Lord than to have a nice car. Think about it. Think about how many people focus on having a nice car or having a nice home. There is nothing wrong with having a nice car, a nice home. As a matter of fact, I want a nice car and I want a nice home. Someday when I'm driving my Lexus, hey, don't hate a brother. You know what I mean? Don't play or hate. All right? But I do want that. But it's not my focus. It's not my priority. My priority is to get one person, an unbeliever, and introduce them to Jesus so that they will go to heaven. That's my priority.